The bunk assignment, the metal hallway of Outpost Echo 9, echoed with heavy boots and quiet voices. The station was crowded, too crowded. New arrivals were being assigned rooms and bunks quickly, with little space left for comfort or privacy. Liam, a young human soldier, stood near the duty desk with his backpack slung over one shoulder. His face was tired, his body sore from days of travel through jump gates and cramped shuttles. All he wanted was rest. A gruff voice called out, "Cadet Liam, Room 32B. You'll be sharing with Officer Rhea of Unit Blue." Liam blinked. Sharing? Overcrowding. The officer replied without looking up. "One bunk, 2 shifts. Make it work." He sighed, nodded, and moved down the hallway. Room 32B was small metal walls, low ceiling, 1 locker, and 1 double bunk. The top bunk was clearly taken. A few soft items were already neatly stacked there: thin blankets, a blue translator device, and a folded set of alien garments. Then he saw her. She stood by the far wall, hands behind her back, tail twitching slightly. Rhea. Her skin was light gray with a soft shimmer. Long dark hair fell around her shoulders, and 2 large, alert ears stood up from the top of her head. Her eyes, violet and glowing, slightly watched him without blinking. She looked more nervous than he felt. "I guess ... We're bunkmates." "Now," Liam said, trying to sound casual. Rhea nodded slowly. Her voice was quiet, soft, and carried an accent. "I do not take much space. You may use the lower bunk." "Thanks," he replied, placing his bag down carefully. The room fell silent again. That night, Liam lay on the lower bunk, facing the wall. The light was dimmed, and all he could hear was the hum of the station's core reactor and the faint breathing from above. He had shared bunks before, but not like this. Not with someone from a different species. Not with someone so ... quiet ... As he turned over to his back, he heard a soft sound like feet touching the floor. Then silence again, seconds. Later, a soft shift of weight pressed the thin mattress beside him. He froze. Was she coming down? Before he could speak, he felt it. A warm body, smaller than his, slid under the blanket. Arms wrapped gently around his side, her forehead resting against his chest. She trembled slightly, like someone trying not to cry. Liam's heart pounded. He didn't move. Didn't speak. She didn't say anything either. Only the soft sound of breathing filled the space between them. After a few minutes, her trembling stopped. She let out a long sigh and fell asleep. Morning came slowly. Liam hadn't slept much. His body stayed still the whole night, confused and unsure. When he finally blinked awake, Rhea was already up, sitting on the top bunk and brushing her long hair. She didn't look at him. He sat up slowly. Last night? You were warm," she said simply, not turning her head. "That is all." He paused. "You didn't mean anything by it?" "No, only comfort." He nodded, though he wasn't sure what that meant. Comfort for her? For him? All day she stayed quiet. But something had changed. She now stood closer to him when they walked. She didn't flinch when others passed. Once, when a loud alarm startled the crew, she stepped behind him without a word, as if he was a shield. He didn't ask questions. But he noticed. Later that evening, one of the other humans, a tall engineer named Jonas, walked by and grinned. "So, sharing bunks with the pretty fox girl, huh?" Jonas teased. "That soft fur must make a nice blanket." Liam scowled. "Shut up, Jonas." Jonas laughed and walked away. Liam entered the room again and closed the door behind him. Rhea was already there, sitting on the bunk's edge, holding her translator device. She didn't say anything. He looked at her for a moment, then moved to lie down on the lower bunk. After a moment, She joined him again, just like before. This time it felt more natural. She curled up close, and he didn't freeze. He stayed still, but his eyes stayed open. As her breathing slowed into sleep, Liam stared at the metal ceiling above, one thought burning in his mind. What exactly did I just become? To her? Asterisk, unspoken comfort. The days on Outpost Echo 9 passed slowly. The station's artificial light flickered in shifts of day and night, but time felt strange here. Liam continued his duties: engineering checks, weapon system diagnostics, communication logs, but his mind kept returning to the small room, to the soft weight beside him each night. To her, Rhea never spoke about it, and Liam never asked, but every night, after the station dimmed and silence took over, she would quietly slip into his bunk. No words, no explanations. Just soft breathing, and her body wrapped lightly around his. Sighed like it was meant to be there. At first, it was strange. Now, it felt expected. One morning, as Liam was adjusting a damaged cooling panel in Sector 7, a medic named Kara walked by, noticed the tiredness in his face, and smiled. "You look like you've been wrestling with something in your sleep." Liam gave a half-smile. "Something like that. You okay?" He shrugged. "Honestly, I don't even know." That evening, during the meal hour, Rhea sat across from him in the mess hall, something she hadn't done before. Her food was minimal, mostly liquids. She ate quietly, eyes low. Liam tried not to stare, but he noticed it. Again, the subtle twitch of her fingers when he laughed, the way her ears tilted toward him whenever he spoke. She was listening, all the time. Later, back in the room, Liam sat on his bunk, holding a small data pad, pretending to read. But his thoughts were stormy. He finally looked up. "Rhea?" She didn't move from the top bunk. I need to ask, why do you keep sleeping next to me?" A long silence. Then, slowly, she climbed down from the top bunk and sat on the floor. Beside him, her knees folded under her. "My kind," she began, voice soft and careful. "We are sensitive. To emotion, to silence, to your presence." Liam blinked. "You mean, like telepathic?" She nodded. "Not full mind reading, but we feel emotions. And in this station, there is noise everywhere. Inside." She touched her temple lightly. "My people were not made for war zones or fear. I was trained to resist, but the fear still seeps in." She paused, her voice trembling. "Your chest, your heartbeat, it silences the noise." Liam looked down, surprised. "That's why you curl up to me?" "It grounds me," she whispered. "You don't push. You don't speak too much. But you feel steady, like stone, like earth." He didn't know what to say. So he said nothing. That night, when she slipped beside him again, it was different. Not silent, not tense. Peaceful. He turned slightly this time, allowing her arms to gently hold him from behind. Her forehead rested against his spine, and for the first time, he let his own body relax fully into hers. It was strange, and yet calming. A few days later, something unexpected happened. During a briefing in the central hall, a sudden power fluctuation sent sparks flying from one of the panels. A loud bang echoed through the room. Everyone ducked, but Rhea dropped to her knees instantly, hands over her ears, gasping in panic. No one moved to help, except Liam. He crossed the floor in 2 steps, knelt beside her, and gently placed his hands on her shoulders. "Rhea, it's okay. You're safe. I'm here." Her eyes were wide, glowing faintly. She looked at him, not with fear, but desperation. Then slowly, she calmed. Her hands dropped. Her breath steadied. Her ears twitched once, then settled. The room was silent. Everyone watched. Liam helped her to her feet without a word. From that moment on, No one made jokes about their bunk sharing again. That night, as they lay side by side in the dim room, Rhea spoke softly. "I think I'm not meant to be alone anymore." Liam didn't answer with words. He simply reached out and held her hand. Asterisk. Her kind was not meant for war. The next few days were different, not because Liam and Rhea said anything new, but because the silence between them had changed. It was no longer awkward. It was warm. They began moving together like a quiet rhythm. Meals, shifts, training, rest. Always close. Always calm. The crew noticed, but no one dared speak about it. One evening, Liam and Rhea sat alone in the observatory deck, watching stars crawl across the void. The glass wall hummed with soft energy, and the room was silent except for the low hum of the station. Rhea looked out into the darkness. Her voice came soft. "My home is made of forests. No machines. No sky like this." Liam nodded. "Was it hard to leave?" She didn't answer at first. Then, "My kind. We are empaths, born to feel others. In families, we live in circles. Everyone's emotions are shared like a wave." That sounds peaceful. It was. Her fingers curled lightly over her knees. But peace does not teach you how to survive war. She turned to face him. Her glowing violet eyes reflected starlight. "They brought me here because I could resist more than others. Because I didn't collapse when I heard anger or fear or sorrow. But even I—" She paused, her voice cracking. Even I break. Sometimes." Liam sat beside her silently. She looked down. "When I feel too much, I shake. Sometimes I can't breathe." He reached out slowly, placing his hand over hers. "You haven't broken yet," he said. "You're still here." That night, Rhea didn't wait until lights dimmed. She joined Liam as soon as he lay down. But this time, something was different. Her breathing was fast. Her body tensed. Liam turned to face her. "What's wrong?" She gripped his shirt tightly. "Something is coming. I feel it. A surge." He looked confused. "A surge?" She pressed her forehead against his chest. "Emotion. Energy. I can feel it building. From the crew. From outside. Like a storm coming." Suddenly, the room lights flickered. A high-pitched hum vibrated through the walls. Liam sat up, alarmed. Is that an alert? Then crack! A pulse of psychic energy exploded from Rhea's body, silent, invisible, but powerful. It knocked over a metal chair in the room. Liam staggered backward, blood dripping from his nose. His head throbbed. Rhea fell to her knees, gasping. "I didn't mean to." I couldn't stop it." Liam shook his head, trying to stand. "It's okay. I'm okay." She stared at him, tears gathering in her eyes. "This is why they fear us. Why they hide us." "You didn't hurt me," he whispered, holding her shoulders. "You warned me. You trusted me." Her breath caught. "But what if it happens again?" Liam wiped the blood from under his nose and smiled gently. "Then I'll hold you tighter." Later, in the medical bay, Liam sat with a small bandage over his temple. Doctors were running quiet scans on Rhea from a distance, too afraid to get close. One officer whispered to another, "She's unstable." Another nodded. "Should report her to command." Liam stood up. "She's not unstable. She's overwhelmed." They ignored him. He looked at Rhea. She sat quietly on the bed, her hands folded, her ears low. She didn't look up. He stepped beside her. "They want to separate us, don't they?" She nodded, barely. "They think I'm too close to you. Too affected. Too dangerous," she whispered. "They don't understand," Liam said. "You're not dangerous. You're just sensitive." She finally looked up at him. "They will try to send me back. Lock me in a quiet room. Alone." Liam clenched his jaw. "Not if I stop them." That night, their room remained dark and empty. Rhea wasn't returned. Liam sat alone on the lower bunk, staring at the ceiling dot. His chest was cold, but his mind was burning. They were afraid of her powers, but they had no idea what she really needed, what she was becoming. And Liam knew, deep inside, he wasn't just her comfort anymore. He was her anchor. Asterisk. Tether in the storm. The room felt colder now. Liam sat on the lower bunk, staring at the wall where Rhea's light blue scarf used to hang. Her scent still lingered in the room, something soft, like a summer breeze through tall trees. But she wasn't here anymore. They had taken her. After the psychic surge. The officers labeled her unstable, emotionally volatile, they called it, a danger to crew safety. They didn't even let her say goodbye. Liam had watched in silence as 2 guards escorted her to the restricted wing where high-emotion species were monitored. But monitored was just another word for isolated. 2 days passed. Liam didn't sleep much. The bunk felt empty. The air felt wrong. Everywhere he went, he kept expecting to hear her soft steps behind him, feel the brush of her tail when she passed. But there was nothing. His shift partner Jonas noticed the change. "You look like someone stole your oxygen." Liam didn't answer. Jonas continued, voice softer now. "They say she hasn't spoken since they moved her." That made Liam freeze. Rhea silent? She always spoke so softly. But now nothing? "She's not built for isolation," Liam muttered. Jonas frowned. "You thinking of doing something stupid?" Liam stood up slowly. "Not stupid, just necessary." That night, Liam bypassed the lower decks, using an old engineer's Route 1. He knew from fixing coolant pipes weeks ago. He followed the dark corridors to the restricted wing. A guard stood at the entrance to the isolation chamber. Liam walked straight up, calm but firm. "Emergency maintenance request." The guard raised a brow. No such request was logged. Liam didn't hesitate. "Check again. There's a potential vent leak behind the chamber Class 2 hazard." The guard hesitated. That's when Jonas appeared from the shadows behind and tossed a metal spanner onto the floor clang. The noise pulled the guard's attention. Liam moved fast. One quick stun patch to the neck, and the guard slumped down. Jonas whispered, 5 minutes. No more. Liam nodded and slipped inside. The chamber was white, glowing faintly. Too clean. Too quiet. Rhea sat on a metal bed, hugging her knees, head down. She didn't move as Liam stepped closer. He knelt in front of her. "Rhea, it's me." Still. No response. He reached forward and gently touched her hand. She flinched slightly. Her ears twitched. "Your heart," she whispered finally. "I can't feel it. I couldn't find it." Liam placed her hand on his chest. "It's still here," he said. "Still beating." She looked up, eyes glassy, but glowing faintly again. "I'm not allowed to touch. They say I must be calm. That I must be still." Liam shook his head. "You're not a problem, Rhea. You're not a mistake." She swallowed hard. "You came for me?" "I should have come sooner." He helped her stand. She was weak, but her fingers gripped his tightly. Behind them, the door hissed open. A high-ranking officer stepped in. "Cadet Liam, you've broken multiple protocols." Liam turned slowly, shielding Rhea behind him. "She doesn't belong in a cage. She's unstable. No, she's unsupported." The officer narrowed his eyes. "What do you suggest? That we let an emotional weapon sleep in your arms?" Liam stood tall. "Yes, that's exactly what I suggest." Later that night, the decision came down. The station council gave an ultimatum. If Rhea stays on duty, she must be bonded, officially, with someone compatible, someone she responds to. There was only one name on that list. Liam. In the dim room of 32B. Rhea sat beside Him again. No guards. No cuffs. Just quiet. I'm sorry, she whispered. For what? He asked. For being more storm than soldier. He shook his head, looking into her glowing eyes. I don't care if you're a storm, he said. I'll be your tether. She smiled, then small, real, and full of something unspoken. That night, when she curled into his chest, her hand rested over his heart again. But this time, it wasn't just for calm. This time, it was home. Asterisk. The wrong kind of rescue. The bond registration came with new rules. Liam and Rhea were now officially listed as codependent partners under empathic stabilization protocol. Fancy words that meant one thing. They weren't allowed to be separated, but the station didn't like it. Whispers started. Officers stared. Some said Liam was being manipulated. Others believed Rhea was a threat, hidden behind soft eyes and silence. And worst of all, the Council on Central Command had taken notice. One message changed everything. Transfer request approved. Officer Rhea will be moved to lunar research. Station for isolated study and long-term monitoring. Effective immediately. Liam read the order twice. His heart dropped. They were taking her again. That evening, he found Rhea sitting by the observation window, her tail wrapped tightly around her legs. She had already seen the message. I thought we were safe now, she said softly. They don't want to understand, Liam replied, sitting beside her. Rhea's fingers trembled slightly. The lunar station, they study my kind. Not like scientists, like puzzles. Liam turned toward her. They can't force you to go. They can, she whispered. They always can. Silence fell between them. Then Liam said something he hadn't said before. I'll run. Her eyes widened. What? If they take you, I'll follow. Off station. Anywhere. You'd break the law? I'd break the galaxy if it meant keeping you safe. But before any plan could form, everything collapsed. That night, without warning, a medical team stormed Room 32B. 3 humans, 1 alien medic, all armored. They didn't knock. They injected Rhea with a neural sedative before Liam even stood. Up, she cried out briefly, and then went limp. Liam fought. 1 punch landed. 1 guard staggered, but another hit him with a stun baton, and everything went black. He woke in the holding bay, cuffed, dazed, alone. A voice rang out from the speakers above. Cadet Liam, you violated protection protocol. Your connection to the empath is deemed emotionally compromising. You are hereby suspended from duty. Liam's jaw clenched. Where is she? No answer. He yelled. Where is she? Still silence. Then a whisper through his neural link, barely there, but real. Liam, can you hear me? His heart leapt. Rhea. She was still awake somewhere. Weak, disoriented, but reaching for him with her mind. They. Put me in a sleep pod. I can't feel. Your heartbeat. It's too far. He shut his eyes tightly. Hold on, just hold on. Hours passed. Or maybe days. He didn't know. But then, in the dead silence of the detention cell, a small hatch on the side wall slid open. Jonas appeared. I told you not to do anything stupid, Jonas muttered. Now we're both off the roster. Liam stood shakily. Where is she? Jonas handed him a small device, a location beacon. They haven't shipped her yet. She's still on board. Sleep pod chamber. But the window's short. Liam looked. At him? You're helping me? You saved my life during the reactor breach. Time to return the favor. Liam grabbed the beacon. Already moving. Jonas sighed. You're going to owe me after this. The sleep pod chamber was colder than the rest of the station. Rows of sealed glass tubes. Dim blue lights. Soft beeping He found her in the third row. Rhea floated inside the pod eyes half open, lips barely moving. Her hand was pressed weakly to the glass. Liam placed his hand against it. Rhea, I'm here. Her eyes flickered fully open, but she didn't. Smile. Instead, she whispered in his mind, You should go. They'll hurt you for this. He shook his head. Not leaving you behind. The pod's controls blinked. He began overriding the lock. Suddenly dash alarms screamed. Security had noticed. Liam's fingers flew across the panel. Come on, come on. The glass hissed open. Rhea collapsed into his arms, weak but conscious. He lifted her. And then they ran. Behind them, red lights flashed. Guards shouted. The lockdown door began to close. They made it through by inches. Breathless, bruised, alive. Rhea clung to him, eyes wide, her voice in his mind shaking. I thought I was going to disappear. You were, Liam whispered, but not without. An asterisk, the right kind of bond. They hid in the old vent corridors for hours. Liam held Rhea close, both of them breathing slowly, listening for footsteps. The alarms had gone silent, but they knew it wouldn't last. Rhea rested her head on his chest again, like always. But this time, it wasn't for grounding. It was for safety, for peace, for him. I failed them, she whispered. I couldn't control it. I made them afraid. Liam shook his head. No, you made them face something they didn't understand. That's not failure. She closed her eyes. They'll never let me stay now. Then we make them see. We stop hiding. Jonas returned again, shaking his head, but smiling faintly. You two cause more trouble than a reactor meltdown. He handed Liam a clean shirt, and Rhea a warm energy drink. The council's meeting in 1 hour. If you want to speak, that's your chance. But it's public. Liam looked at Rhea. She nodded, softly but firmly. Then let them hear us. The command chamber was full. Officers, engineers, medics, alien delegates. The air was thick with tension. Liam walked in holding Rhea's hand. Some gasped. Others whispered. The council leader spoke first. You stand here against direct orders, with a telepath who assaulted this station. What defense do you have? Liam stepped forward. She didn't attack anyone. She lost control because you put her in a cage. A few murmurs rose from the crowd. She wasn't unstable, Liam continued. She was unsupported. And still, she did everything she could to protect this crew. One officer barked. And what proof do you offer? Liam turned to Rhea. She didn't speak aloud. Instead, she took a single step forward, placed her hand on her chest, then gently on Liam's and closed her eyes. A wave spread through the room. Not noise. Not pressure. Calm. The entire room felt it. Peace. Balance. Connection. Some in the crowd teared up, without knowing why. A silent emotion moved through everyone like standing in sunlight after years of cold. Rhea opened her eyes. Her voice was clear. I do not ask to be feared. I only ask to be understood. And maybe to belong. Silence followed. Then, slowly one of the alien diplomats stood and spoke. I felt her pain, her strength. I vote to allow her to remain. One by one, voices followed. Some reluctant. Some moved, but enough. The council gave their final order. Officer Rhea will not be relocated. She will remain aboard as a specialist under voluntary bond with Cadet Liam. No longer as a risk, but as a bridge. That night, room 32B was quiet. Again, Liam placed a small glowing stone on the wall, a gift from Rhea's people. It pulsed with a soft rhythm, like a heartbeat. Rhea sat on the bunk, smiling. We're still here, she said. We always were, Liam replied, sitting beside her. She leaned into him, her tail resting over his lap, gently, Dot, and for the first time, he asked a question. Do your people have words for this? For what we are? She thought a moment, Dot, and whispered, We call it a soul tether. A bond that calms storms. Liam smiled. Then I guess we've got the right kind of storm. As the stars drifted outside the window, and the hum of the station returned to normal, two beings different in blood, but united in heart held each other in quiet peace, not because they had to, but because it felt natural. Asterisk,